Okay, and we're back. So this is everything that I got for the month of March 2023. As always, pretty decent stack. Things are moving along. Some books are coming to an end. There's new stuff popping in. There's some one-shots. Good spread. Kicking things off, new issue, The Last Ronin. The Last Year is just like a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, The Last Ronin spin-off of what Michelangelo was doing after he left New York. I don't recall any of this from my book, but I'm really digging. There's actually some stuff in here about what happens after the main Last Ronin with these kind of new generation of turtles being raised by April and her daughter, which is kind of cool. And some neat stuff of, Michelangelo out in, well, so far just Japan, but we'll see where it goes. But yeah, enjoying it so far. Digging that. Last issue of Berserker. So this is actually a nice exercise issue. Might be hard to see there. It's a bit thicker. So obviously lots is going to happen here. And yeah, I've been really liking this series. So I'm going to probably go back and reread the 12 issues because there's some stuff. It's like, as I mentioned before, it's one of the coolest stories I've read about, like the idea of like an immortal warrior living through time. Takes some cool, interesting ideas of like what caused his immortality and what does it mean for everybody. And then there's also, I just saw in the previews, there's I don't want to say like a spin-off series, but a story of Berserker throughout his life, actually written and drawn by Steve Skroce. So that's pretty cool. I'll definitely be picking that one up, but that one's coming to an end. I hate Fairyland. The last issue was pretty great. This one's pretty awesome. You can see there's like a cabal of problems forming for Gertrude on her return to Fairyland. And each issue's been kind of like a nice little one and done story as she gets closer to trying to get back to Fairyland and find this little boy she's been sent to find. Nemesis Reloaded. Yeah, this just keeps trucking along. There actually was a bit of an origin for Nemesis in the last issue, which they didn't have in the last series. He's just like an orphan kid whose parents were like junkies who died, and he gets picked up by this cabal of criminals. It's hard to explain. I shouldn't say that. It's just kind of so far a little confusing. And he's out to get this one cop who's now the chief of police or the mayor of Los Angeles, which is where he's kind of like taken over. But yeah, it's a wild series. So, but it's supposed to kick off and tie into the big thing. There's only one more issue of this too, and then I think it ties into like, I think this series is called The Big Thing or The Big Hit or The Big something. But yeah, I don't know if I'll pick that one up. Maybe we'll see. We'll see. Castle Full of Blackbirds. This is the final issue. The last one was pretty fun. So this is going to wrap up the story of Sarah as she kind of approaches the end of her, I wouldn't say her time, but like the end of the year is coming up for the school, and she's learning a lot about her powers and kind of the backstory of the school and how it's not exactly what she thought it was. And yeah, it's fun. It's a nice little Hellboy spinoff. Another Hellboy spinoff, Kotchel in Hell, issue 304. I've been liking this story. Excuse me. Ben Stenbeck he's probably one of my favorite, I guess, Hellboyverse artists. They use him for a lot of stuff. He did a lot of the, trying to think of the character, Lord Baltimore books. I had some BPRD stuff as well. But yeah, a lot of fun. Kotchel, and I'm definitely pronouncing that name incorrectly, is just going through what's left of hell and kind of killing his way through it. So yeah, a lot of fun there. Lovesick issue number 6. This is the final issue. And as always, I'm not going to flip into it. This is like definitely not the book I thought it was going to be when I first picked it up, as I've mentioned many times. And this second story arc is about Domino and this guy. I can't remember his name, but kind of the dude that picked her up and the crazy messed up relationship they have. He's like a cannibal, or he claims to be, and she wants to be eaten by somebody. That's how they meet online and meet up. And yeah, it's kind of all over the place and kind of dark and weird. So yeah, I gave every book 6 issues. This one ends in 6. If there's a second volume, I don't think I'll pick it up. It's not, I don't say it's not for me, but I don't know. It's yeah, it's not really for me. So, but I've enjoyed what it has been, I guess. But I don't like to talk badly about books too. Oh, Lady Baltimore one shot. This was a nice surprise. I'm really digging the Lady Baltimore stuff, so it's cool to see that she's back in a one shot, and kind of hopefully maybe this picks up into another mini series down the road. But yeah, Can't go wrong. Most of my stuff is all like Hellboy stuff or BPRD. Next issue of Hellboy and Love. So Hellboy and Abby, Anastasia. I had to check the front there. They go off to Turkey to investigate some spooky stuff, and yeah, there's still some banter between the two of them. You can pick up on the vibe that they're both giving off. But yeah, this is really fun. I think there's only meant to be 4 issues usually. I don't know, but hey, there's one more, so that's cool. And that's it for singles. Nice short stack. Mostly, I think half of that is BPRD stuff. So, yeah, 9 books and 4 of them are BPRD. So it's about right. Moving on to trades. I picked up this one, Dear Body. Our Bodies, Our Rules, Our Stories. It's an anthology, which I dig, but my girlfriend actually asked to pick this one up because she was interested in it. So it's a bunch of short stories of women talking about their bodies and just kind of growing up and going through puberty and just, you know, stories about womanhood and stuff. Yeah, that's all I really know about it. So she wanted to check it out. So I don't mind checking it out as well. So I picked this one up for her. So yeah, I'll give it a read too. We'll see. Should be. I like anthologies and I like kind of like personal stories. You know, people are really kind of open and honest about their lives in comic form is really fun. So. And then the last trade I got is the Do a Powerbomb collection. I've been praising this book since I've got issue 1. I love Daniel Warren Johnson, so it's pretty good to have the whole thing, and I can now just like lend it out to people and be like, hey, check this out. I have a Do a Powerbomb t-shirt that gets a lot of compliments and questions, so now it's like I almost feel like I should carry this around with me. So I feel like, hey, that's a really cool shirt. I'm like, yeah, it's based off this book. Go and read it. It's awesome. I love this cover too, but yeah, I'm looking forward to just sitting down and reading this again because it's really good. There's some cool back matter stuff, some nice little covers, mostly just covers. And then obviously pick up more stuff by Daniel Warren Johnson. But that's not everything I picked up this month. I also made a special trip out to a used bookstore where I live, where they get a lot of good stuff. And I picked up a few books there too, which is nice. So I picked up first Black Hole by Charles Byrne. When I was looking at this, I was pretty sure I had this book because I've definitely have read it before. Back when I worked in a comic shop many years ago. But it's basically the story of, I think it's in Seattle, somewhere in Pacific Northwest, and there's like this STI going around that's spread through teenagers, and it can like basically make you grow like, in kind of like change your body physically. So, and yeah, and then teenagers start getting murdered as well. So yeah, it was a really cool story. You know, it gets a lot of praise for being like this really great indie book, which it is. I really liked it when I was younger, so you know, figured finally time to put it on my shelf. And I got all these books actually a really good deal, so I'm pretty happy. I picked up this Kyle Barker book, You Are Here, kind of a noir book. I really like Kyle Baker. He's a great cartoonist. I really love his style, and yeah, it's really hard to sometimes find some of this older stuff from him. It's not really in print anymore, so this is really fun. It's kind of a, like I said, noir whodunit, guys on the run trying to figure things out. So looking forward to that. I was able to pick up a couple of Tintin books. I got Explorers on the Moon and The Black Island. I love Tintin. This is kind of like when I was very young. I go to the library. They had Tintin, so I like get Tintin. It's kind of a entryway into comics. The nice thing about these is like this is the oversized edition that I read growing up, and this can kind of be hard to find. There's a lot of reprints that are kind of like a smaller version, and I don't want that. I want this big version, so I was pretty stoked to find both of these. Both are great stories, Explorers on the Moon and The Black Islands. Then I picked up this old Will Eisner book. I actually have never heard of this story before, Life of Another Planet, but you know, it's Will Eisner. He's probably considered one of the greatest cartoonists of all time, defying the idea of a graphic novel. But this is a really cool story. It's like, what if one day, somewhere from space, a signal that came to Earth gets recognized, and then we see a signal from another planet, which means like, what would happen here on Earth? You know, obviously, chaos would ensue. I would assume, you know, that would be pretty big news for the planet. But yeah, this is pretty fun, and I like Will Eisner. The one book that I really was excited to find was this one, Watching the Watchmen. Not the hardest book to find. It's still, you know, you can still track this down. This came out when the movie came out. But basically, I never wanted to pay full price for this book. but they found it, relatively cheap at this shop, so that was really good. But it's basically just a breakdown of Watchmen. It's Dave Gibbons going through like, early character designs, yeah, chapter by chapter basically, thumbnails, early sketches, his thoughts on how they pace things, conversations with Alan Moore. Like it's really extensive, and I love Watchmen. It's a pretty important book to me, as it is to most comic books, I would say. But yeah, this is really fun, and I can't wait to just kind of like flip through this and put it on my shelf. So yeah, so that's everything I got this month. So overall, like pretty big stacks. I got a few books from the used store. I got my normal monthly stuff, but lots of good things. Hopefully more books come next month. I say that, but I know what's coming. I know books are coming, but I don't know what's coming. But lots to keep reading, lots to catch up on. Summer's here, so yeah, time to start reading. As always, though, send me your cheers, send me your jeers, and I'll see you next time.